Sound so wonderful, so healing. Welcome, family, peace and blessings. I am Astaris Miraculi, and welcome to day 16 of 100 Days of Healing. Today, my subject is Our Light Outlives Our Darkness. And just opening up, dear women, once again, I apologize for my obsessive, inappropriate hugging. I atone and I take responsibilities for the way in which I have fallen short of that greatest something that I know I am meant to be. I apologize to the community. I know that you have believed in me and saw something in me, and apologies for falling short of that exalted something that you felt you saw within me. I apologize to all of those who schedule speaking and teaching engagements for me for falling short of that which you perceived me to be. And I especially want to reach out to, right now, the young brothers, the young brother king men, those in the 20s and the 30s and maybe even the 40s. And I know that many who have really looked up to me in a phenomenal way are feeling a way inside of them, regarding that, feeling let down, and also feeling deceived and feeling duped. And it's an interesting thing. I'm taken back to a seminar that I did more than 20 years ago called Omega Vector. And it was an interesting experience for me. I experienced a huge ego death and an awareness of ego that I had within me that I didn't even know I had. I thought everybody loved me, and it was interesting, a 5-day intense seminar. And in the first 2 days of that seminar, oh my God, I was the most resented person in that seminar based upon just the presencing of my ego. And then I surrendered, and in the last 3 days, I was the most loved person in that seminar, but it was by virtue of the surrender and the coming clean and sacred guts on the table and all of that. And back then, I used to feel like, oh, I'm like 90% saint and only maybe 10% asshole, so let's not worry about it. And then I learned that when I'm coming from the saintly part of who I am, it's 100%. And when I'm coming from the asshole part of who I am, it's 100%. So I jokingly started calling myself Saint Asshole or the Asshole Saint. The point I want to get to is that it's never all or nothing. That's something that you saw, young brother Kingman. It's real. You see, I am infinitely more than my darkness. You are infinitely more than your darkness. And I think this is something that we have to learn in our society. It's important that we learn it because we're a throwaway society, throwaway in terms of our consumerism and all of the waste that we throw away that goes into the landfills that are unkind to the earth. But we also tend to be a throwaway society when it comes to people, because we have many fallen heroes and fallen sheroes. And, when we think very highly of them and then they fall, then our definition of them is based exclusively upon that shadow about which they took the fall. And they are more than just that shadow. They are also whatever representation of light they were able to exemplify. Now, yes, there are times when people will literally take the pretense of light and just do extreme darkness, and the whole thing is just the manipulation, the pretense of being the light, while being aware that it's really the darkness underneath. I'm not speaking about that. You know, we as human beings, we're this interesting mix of the dark and the light. And interesting for me right now, I feel like Astarius Miraculi, the fallen angel. These shadow pieces of who I am having come to the surface, and then not doing any of my session work and just really keeping sacred company with myself, going deep down into the core of my own healing, and also very excited about going to my first therapy session on tomorrow, with a man and a woman, a husband and wife team. I feel grateful to have that. I feel like it will enable me to go really, really deep. I want to take a stand today for being an affirmation of the light. One thing that has helped me whenever, well, first of all, whenever I look at people that seem to be going, into lower spaces and all of that, I always like to humble myself and say that the lowest devil can't go lower than the lowest that I also am capable of. And the highest angel can't fly higher than the highest that I am also capable of. And it's a humbling experience, to feel that way, because sometimes there's a feeling that others, have done something that we could never do. Well, of course we could. It may be that we wouldn't, but we could, because we have free will. And so I'm taking a stand for our fallen heroes and fallen sheroes, and that we would remember to be an affirmation of whatever measure of light they were able to express. Like even the young brother King men that are feeling this pain regarding how they saw me. And during those times when I was exemplifying the light, that light was 100%. And during those moments when I slid off center and I was exemplifying darkness, the darkness was 100%. But one thing that will always be a grave difference between the light and the dark is, well, first of all, our light will always outlive our darkness, because our light is co-eternal with God, and therefore unfolding down the corridors of forever. Our light will never cease to be, but darkness always has an expiration date, a shelf life. Fear, sickness, worry, hatred, always a shelf life and expiration date. So even when, let's say, one in their whole life, maybe they exemplify 90% of darkness in the whole of their life, and maybe only 10% of light. And that 10% of light will always be greater than that 90% of darkness, because that 10% of light is co-eternal with God, unfolding down the corridors of forever. And so I think it's important, I feel it's important, that we always take time to be an affirmation of the light. When we see someone has fallen and we define them exclusively by the negativity that we feel that they are in, or we're witnessing them in, now we become an accessory to that negativity, because we're giving affirmation to it, because that's what we're pouring energy into. I pray that we all learn to believe more in the redemption of all of us, that no matter how far we fall, we can always, rise up higher. As I said, I feel like Astarius Miraculi, the fallen angel, and, my commitment is that I'm going to get up stronger than before I went down. And I'll get up stronger, not in spite of being knocked down, but because of being knocked down, because of falling down. This hugging piece, for example, the shadow of that, the obsessiveness of that, it's a piece that I've been working toward rising above for a very, very long time. Made some great strides as well. Heal some layers, and sometimes I'll heal a certain layer and it felt like, oh, I'm done with that. But no, there's other layers, and that's how it works. And I think sometimes that's the grace of God. I feel the grace of God is something that doesn't always require us to have to deal with everything all at the same time, as layer by layer. Otherwise, it would literally, destroy us in some instances. So I thank you for co-creating with me, and I'm really excited about raising myself all the way up. I'm grateful for the divine intervention that came from my community, and being called out, with regards to these shadow parts of myself, and so there can be a full healing and a full clearing, because a partial healing won't do. There's been a lot of partial healing on that, because I've certainly been diligent in doing what work I could do, to create the clearing. But there are times when we can't do the work all by ourselves. We need help. And that's, one of the shadows that I've had also is, the all or nothing, or feeling like I should be able to do it all, independent to a fault. And what I want to conclude with is just this: is speaking of the all or nothing, because sometimes we're in an all or nothing, and that's what happens when someone falls, and we say either they're all the shadow or nothing. You see, there's nothing else but that shadow. But there's a great trap in all or nothing, because in all or nothing, we pit the all against the nothing, and it's duality and it's separation. You see, the greater power is not in all or nothing. The greater power is in all and nothing. You know, it's like, it's the light and the shadow, being able to see how we can create a merging of those energies to then, like the phoenix, rise up into the purity, of the light. So not all or nothing, but all and nothing. And so I conclude with a selection from my book, Miraculous Song of Ascension. I call this one Among the Ascended. I'm making my way back to my roots, one cosmic breath to ascension absolute. The time has been long since I have been home. I am hearing the call of a heavenly song. O infinite being, in me dream awake, and among the ascended my place I will take. In trials of the flesh I have been enmeshed, and in spite of it all I still have been blessed. After hurting my brother, my sister, and dishonoring my clan, my part, still vital in God's master plan. I am ending self-hatred, transcending mistakes. A brand new agreement with life I now make. For hiding myself I paid a high cost. Time to get back that which I lost. For ending my fear and the will to attack. Heaven is open and taking me back. In infinite being, I am now awake, and among the ascended, my place I do take. I love you so much.